Welcome to the fourth video in the Introduction to IFS, or Internal Family System Theory. In this video, I want to explore this exiles in detail with you, covering questions like, what are exiles? How do parts become exiled? What are the needs of exiles? And how to understand flooding. And in the last video, we covered protectors. We covered how they are like little people, their own perspectives, motivations, beliefs, etc. In this video, it's all about exiles, and I basically want to say the same principles, the same elements apply to exiles. Exiles are also like little people inside of us, and they have their own perspectives, meaning they see the world, they see themselves, they see us a certain way, often very limited, which is what this frame is there for, because they are really stuck somewhere. They have their own motivation. For exiles, that's often about being seen, being acknowledged, and being helped. They have beliefs which can be incredibly painful and negative about themselves, about the world, about you, about humans. So a lot of times actually the burdens, and they are symbolized here with the band-aid, the burdens that exiles are carrying can be beliefs. They can also be feelings or emotions. So a lot of exiles carry painful feelings and emotions from the past that we couldn't actually process and digest back then. They have memories, and sometimes exiles can have very unique memories that no other part in the system has, and they can also show certain behavior, meaning being drawn to specific people, specific situations, wanting to be seen, etc., etc. So exiles are also like little people inside of us with their own perspectives, motivations, beliefs, etc. And what is important to understand exiles is two things. One is they are stuck in time and situations or memories. What does that mean? A lot of time when an exile is created, when specific situations in our life are so overwhelming that we can't deal with them, there is a part that is still carrying the painful thoughts, emotions, etc. about that. And if for too long this part doesn't get the help it needs to process that, to digest that, it can literally get stuck in that experience, in that time, situation, and memory, which is this. Exiles are very often really stuck in a specific experience, place, memory, and it's like for them that is everything that exists, because the impact of that memory is so big on their system and on our system that they cannot move on from that. And because they are stuck, because they are still carrying whatever it is they couldn't digest from back then, exiles are vulnerable in the sense that they carry unprocessed pain or burdens from the past. And these burdens can be emotions. Exiles can feel extreme emotions like shame, like guilt, but also like anger and rage. So they can be extreme emotions. They can be extreme beliefs, meaning ways that the exile sees the world or themselves. I am bad. I am worthless. The world is a horrendous place with these things I've seen. And they can also be super somatic. So some exiles don't even have clear emotions. They don't have clear thoughts, but basically what they're carrying are somatic states. And this can happen with very young parts, or exiles that got exiled when they were very young. And it can also be in just very overwhelming traumatic situations where the nervous system activation was not processed. So that is exiles in a very short introduction. To understand how an exile is created, let me maybe walk you through an example. So when a child is young, they have healthy parts already, and these healthy parts of children are often kind of how we're meant to be in the world, which is also, I think, why children are so different, because different children have different parts that are meant to interact with the world. Some are full of energy and expression, and others are much more soft and quiet. But there are healthy parts that are meant to relate to the world. And in this example, this healthy part actually carried a healthy need for love, meaning that this child needed love in the form of closeness and touch and warmth on a physical level, but also on an emotional level, being welcomed, being warm towards. And this part expresses naturally. It wants those things, it needs those things. And that's a very normal interaction in this, for this part and this child. But what happens if this need is consistently not met or even shamed? So if this here never gets what it needs, or is even basically shamed as, oh, you're such a weak, sensitive child, then what happened is that this part doesn't get what it needs. It doesn't get the love, the closeness, etc. And that not getting what it needs is painful. Oh, sorry, I thought I showed you the drawings. This part does not get what it needs, and that pain stays. So that pain, often like an activation, but also emotions of hurt or anger, they stay. And as they stay, and this part over and over and over again doesn't get what it needs, it will form that into a more coherent experience, which can be, I am unlovable. I need it. I need the love, but I can't get it because I am unlovable, which would then turn into a feeling and a thought and all of those together that this part is often then stuck in. And as it gets stuck in that, it gets more withdrawn, because if I'm unlovable, I don't even have to try. It gets cut off from consciousness, because feeling unlovable over and over and over again for the whole system is not helpful. So protectors will start to make sure that this part stays away from consciousness, stays away and doesn't take over the system. Visually, to use from the last video, our system is organized around exiles. So if this part is unlovable or carries the burden of being unlovable, there will be parts that do whatever they need to do to make sure that this part stays away from consciousness, doesn't take over the system. And we can just stay with the example we've already worked with. This could mean a protector that starts to work really hard, because even though I'm unlovable, if I work hard and if I get the best results, people might acknowledge me, appreciate me, and that's better than nothing. Or it might be that other parts take over more, and oftentimes there will be both managers and firefighters, and starts to zone out, trying to make sure that that unlovable feeling doesn't get felt too much, and that actually the need for love doesn't get felt too much. It's just avoid that. So then protectors will work around making sure that this part and the burden, the charge, the pain it carries gets kept away from consciousness. But this leads to another problem, because exiles have a need, and that need is the need to be seen. As they are cut off and as they are left alone with their pain, exiles want to be seen. Exiles want to be acknowledged. They want to feel the love and acceptance and appreciation for, oh wow, you went through that, the compassion. And they want that from other people, but also, and this is then the approach within this internal family system model, from the self. But as they have this need to be seen, but are constantly cut off from awareness through the protector's work, oftentimes one of the ways that they try to be seen is by just taking over the system, coming in and flooding the system, meaning that as they try to be like, see me, see the pain, they take over the system with so much pain, so many painful beliefs, etc., that it's overwhelming for the self, it's overwhelming for other parts, so that when it takes over like that, the protectors will work really hard trying to make sure, no, that doesn't happen again. And the protectors actually get bigger and more extreme, trying to avoid this flooding from happening again, where we kind of become the exile again. As explained, as a part blends, and flooding is an extreme form of blending, we feel like we are that. So in those moments, we are unlovable, worthless. We feel like that. And that is so painful and so also challenging for the system that this will actually lead to protectors becoming more and more and more extreme as that happens more often. So that's actually one of the fundamental challenges that exiles have around trying to be seen, trying to get the help they need. And as it was with the protectors, exiles are not their burden. Meaning, yes, these exiles carry pain from the past, emotions, beliefs, perspectives on the world, but they are not the same as them. These burdens, this pain comes from the past. It's undigested, unprocessed from back then. It is not all there is about this exile. This exile has other qualities, oftentimes because these exiles were such important parts and kind of like how we were supposed to be in the world. They carry really important elements of how we as humans are meant and made, and obviously how we are meant or built is can have associations with, there is a certain plan or something like that, but I mean it more like, in my experience, children come into this world with different qualities, with different forms of presence, with different natural behaviors, and those I think come from the healthy parts we have that we should embrace and have developed into a more mature and adult system. But oftentimes those qualities got cut off. Those qualities got hurt, actually. And that is why it's really important to understand exiles are not the same as their burden, and they often carry these important qualities, also needs that we need to actually take care of ourselves as adults. And as we can reintegrate that, we can have a more coherent system and actually a more integrated system where also these softer, younger qualities can become part of us again. And that's it. I hope you found this video helpful. If you find these videos helpful, please feel free to share them, spread the word, and see you in the next video.
You never know what's around.